Hello and welcome to my channel. You know, what kid growing up in the 70s did not watch Forbidden Planet? You know, it was the mainstay for those Friday night creature features or Saturday morning matinees. You know, it was just the story itself just captured your imagination, and the special effects for the time were just incredible. You know, the story of those astronauts landing on that forbidden planet and meeting the misguided scientist Morbius and his daughter Alta, and his creation, Robby the Robot, were just, you know, an inspiration for a lot of the science fiction movies that would come afterwards. So I was lucky enough to find a Robby online, and, you know, it looks a little rough, but I'm hoping that I can paint it and make it look a little bit neater so that I can use it for some, you know, projects that I use and just playing with my Megos. So I hope you stay tuned. I hope you watch today's episode. We're going to be doing a custom Robby the Robot. Well, here's my Robby the Robot before I get it painted. You know, he comes in a couple of colors. I chose silver. You know, I kind of wanted to see what it looked like in the silver color. And at first I was going to just use a like a metallic finish like this, like a Krylon. But I decided on going a little bit, I guess, more movie accurate. And so what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna paint it with this hammered finish. And you can see it has a really cool metallic like luster to it, but it has like a hardened finish to it. And this one right here is called the Hammered Dark Bronze. And it has a hint of brown. You really can't see it too well in the camera, but it has a little hint of brown. And that's kind of like what I was going for. I also picked up this right here. I don't know if I'm gonna be using it, but it's a mirror effect. And I thought I'd get my masking tape and mask out this part right here on the dome and use this right here, this like mirror effect, to give it like a glass-like appearance. We'll see how that works. But before I do any of those things, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime it. I'm going to prime it in this flat white primer by Rust-Oleum. So let me go ahead and get it primed, and I'll be right back. So now that I got them primed in white, I'm going to take some painter's tape, and I'm going to run it along the edge here of the head. Need to make sure that I get a nice straight line going across. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint that silver, and then I have that mirror finish that I'm going to add to it. So I'm trying to get a nice clean straight edge with this tape. And it looks like I have. I'm going to go ahead and add smaller sections. Make sure it's completely masked off before I paint the bronze. Because this back part's going to be silver, and then the dome is going to be that metallic, not metallic, that mirror finish. So, and you may have to use smaller pieces for this because there's some weird bumps and contours. So that's what I'm doing now. Is I'm cutting little strips and I'm putting them in different places around the head to make sure it's completely masked. And then I'm going to take a closer look at it just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I mean, like I said, I'm going to be repainting it anyway, but you know, the less touch-up I have to do, I think the better off it'll be. It'll look a lot cleaner, and you know, it'll be a lot easier for me to do too. So it looks like he's almost done. One more little spot, and I'm going to take them out and I'm going to paint the body. You know what? I may want to do the hands as well. No, I'll just paint those black, I think. So I'm going to go through it one more time just to make sure that I've got it nice and straight and that it's pressed into the head so I don't get any leaking, any overspray. And it looks like I've got it. So I'm going to go ahead and paint him that bronze color. I'll be right back. You can see that paint looks really cool, doesn't it? Now that I've got that done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off the base, and I'm going to paint the head. I'm going to paint it this silver color. I'm thinking maybe I should block out the dome so I can keep the white on there. That way the silver metallic paint, the mirror effect, will really pop. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off the body, because now I'm going to paint the silver part. Now, I'm not going to have to tape off the whole body. It's just that, you know, I just need to make sure that I get to a point where I don't have some bleed into the main body and that paint that I just put down. So I'm covering this, and I'll probably just put a couple of pieces of tape over the abdomen just to kind of keep it clear, and then I'll be able to just apply the paint to the head. Alright, looks like I'm almost done with this. You can see you're going to have to cut it into little strips. And there's some places I missed with that paint, the metallic paint. I guess the hammered paint. So I'm going to go back, and with a brush I'm going to touch those up with I have something called a gunmetal. And it's going to be the gunmetal that's going to kind of like fill in the gaps for the hammered paint. So there we go, and I'm just going to add some tape around the base. Oh, it looks like I missed a spot. Yeah, I think I got it. Again, I'm not taping the whole thing, I'm just taping portions of it, just so I don't get paint on the body. You got to make sure that you get into these creases, because those creases are where you're going to pick up the overspray. And this painter's tape works out really, really well. I did it with my Charon. I used this for my Charon, and I had some really good results. Okay, I think I'm just about done. Alright, so that's what I'm going to be covering. And like I said, I'm just going to spray paint the head. I don't know. I think that this will probably cover this. I'm going to find out. So I'll be back. I'm going to paint the silver, and we'll see what it looks like then. That silver looks great, doesn't it? Let's take off the tape and see what we got. I love this painter's tape. Look at it, it just comes right off. Getting a handful of tape. Let me get rid of this. Boy. Okay. Yeah, it's I was hoping it would come off in one piece. That one did. But when you have those little sections, you know, you got to do the sections though, so that you can get the curve of the neck. But yeah, all in all, I think it's a success. You know what? I see some areas though that I'm gonna have to touch up, and I've got this paint right here. It's called the lead Belcher, and you can see it's very similar to
to the darker paint. You know what? I think I'm gonna need some water. So I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna touch up those areas. Doesn't look like there's a lot. But you can see that's really making it look clean. All right, I think I'm gonna let that dry. Oops, no, I got more on this side. I think I'm going to paint the hands red or black. I haven't decided yet. Looking good. I think I'm going to paint that lip. Maybe not. All right. I don't think I missed any. Ooh, hang on, let me do a second coat back there. It looks a little light. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry and I'm gonna take up the next step. You know, while that's drying, I think I'm gonna paint the hands black. I've already started with one. Because you know what, the Robby the Robot had not claws for hands, but like little three-fingered hands. So I guess it's a little different than the Robby the Robot. It's kind of like an amalgamation between a Robby the Robot and the robot from Lost in Space. That's what it looks like anyway. Yeah, those hands are coming out nicely. All right. I will have to let it dry after this though. Okay. There we go. Don't think I missed anything. Nope. So I'm going to let that top part dry because I'm going to use a wash to add some blue to that. And it's going to have to be completely dry underneath it so it doesn't bleed. So give me a second and we'll be back to that. All right, I think it's dry enough. I forgot, we got buttons here. Nothing fancy. There's the blue one, and I'm going to do a red one on the other side. Where's my water? I think I'm going to do a wash there too. You know what? I got water in here. Hang on. Okay, well, those are done. Now I was experimenting with my wash. I think it's going to work. So this part right here is going to be where I'm going to put my blue wash. Let me shake it up. And the wash I'm using is actually a shade. It's Drakenhof Nightshade. So I'm putting that where the grill is, because I want it to be like blue. And you can see it's going in the recesses here, the indentations. And it's still keeping the silver color towards the top. I think that's looking pretty good. I may keep that lip silver because it just doesn't look, I don't know, like consistent or uniform in the shade. We'll see once it dries. I think you just need to apply this liberally. Let's see. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a brush with some silver once it's dry. Just to pick up the silver highlights. You see what I mean? The top there is just kind of like, it's not really consistent. Kind of looks splotchy. And I guess that's kind of to be expected with a wash. It's going to look a little bit like that. And you know what? The lights weren't really consistent either, but I want it to look a little bit more uniformed. I don't know. We'll see how that works. Yeah, I think with a silver wash, a silver, like a dry brush, I think it'll be okay. Let me get my silver out. I'm not going to do that yet, but there's a couple of buttons here, and they have like a silver, inlay, and I'm going to achieve that by painting the button silver first, and then painting the colors on top of it. There's the first one. There's a second. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to come back to it. It looks like it's dry, so let's try that dry brush right here. You know what? This brush has had it. I'll be right back. Thing is, with dry brushing, it usually ruins the brush that you're using. So, let's see. Yeah, it's definitely softening it. That may be okay. All right, let's go down. You guys can't see it, but I'm wiping off most of the paint. Well, what do you think? Let me see if I can take care of this. You see, I'm trying to bring that down a bit and soften it because it's just not, that wash is just not as consistent as I'd like it to be. Down here it really doesn't matter, but I think up there it does. All right, I think that's good. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Nolan's oil, and I think I'm going to use my gloss. And I'm going to paint those like grills. You can see that's really picking up the detail in the print. Oops. Don't want to have it leak over. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. And, hang on, I better cap this before I spill it, because I am notorious for that. Okay, so now that I've got that done, I'll take care of this back part. Yeah, this is a really easy thing to do, and it just gives a really nice clean touch, you know, to the figure. See? Getting in those grooves is going to be tough, though. You're going to have to go through each one of them, I think. Yeah, looking good. It's a pretty simplistic print, you know, but I think it's going to be cool once I'm done. I've created some spacemen to go with them. And you know, Robby was always appearing in like science fiction movies, you know, in like the 50s and 60s and even into the 70s. So, you know, this guy's going to give me a lot of value as far as like, you know, play value. We're setting up little vignettes and stuff. There's going to be a lot I can do with them. Okay. Boy, I can't believe I'm almost done. The last step is going to be painting the dome silver. Oh boy, look at that, looking good. Okay, let me take care of those little buttons on his chest. I think they were red and blue. Starting with the red. There we go. And now the blue. There we go. You know what? I'm gonna try a silver dry brush on his hands, because those hands just aren't like, you can't see the detail in them. And maybe the lead Belcher. Nah, I'm gonna go with the silver. Not bad. Okay, I think I'm going to take him outside and paint that silver for the dome, and that might be it for Robby. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take out the silver mirror effect and see what it does for the dome. I'm hoping it really kind of makes it pop. So give me a moment, I'll be back. I think it's dry. Let's take a look and see if there is a contrast to it. It looks pretty shiny. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. I think I was hoping for a little bit shinier finish. There's not much of a contrast between that and the silver paint in the back. Oh well, you can save yourself the $7 or $8 that I spent and skip that step. Because yeah, it doesn't, I mean, it looks a little shinier, but it just doesn't have that contrast I was looking for. You know, in the back you can kind of see it, but it's definitely not worth it. You know, let me Maybe I should paint this back here. I don't know. All right, I think I'm going to seal that and maybe spray it with like a gloss, or I'm going to see if I have a gloss, or I might just use my satin. And let's see what it looks like once I get everything touched up and completed. Because I noticed over here there's some places that are a little rough still. Yeah, let me go ahead and get him touched up, painted with the satin spray, and we'll take one final look at him. Here's my completed Robby the Robot. He looks great, doesn't he? A couple of things you may notice. I didn't end up dry brushing the hands. I just went with a black. I used that Abaddon black in there, and I think they look a lot better. Also, I found these in my shed, these little eye hooks, and I put those on there. I think they might be a tad too small, so I may go down to Lowe's and get a little bit bigger set for that. Also, you know, I wasn't really happy with that lead Belcher around the neck. I mean, yeah, it was close, but it just wasn't close enough. So what I ended up doing was just taping off. I masked the dome and this base part right here, and I just repainted that with the metallic paint. So really happy with them. You know, the impetus for this was actually a 14-inch Robby that I saw online, and it had lights and everything. It was a really cool looking figure, but 14 inches is way too big for Megos. You know, here I have a custom figure I put together, Altyra, and you can see that that the scale for Mego is pretty much spot on. She looks great, huh? So, you know, I see myself using this robot for a lot of different things. You know, monsters, sci-fi, you know, who knows? But anyway, until next time, you guys stay safe and have fun with your Megos. See you soon. Bye-bye.